UI
Hey,
Mama.
UI mamas.
Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, this format's going to be a little different.
Yes.
Just to start off, we're not going to do a sorry, not sorry, because we really want to dive into a subject that Keon and I are struggling with significantly.
Yes.
So I'm just going to say now this is going to be a little bit different than normal. There's going to be less laughs, but we're just going to talk about something that is on our mind. We have gone round and round between topics, and we just need to be authentic. We are both proud mothers of Black sons.
Yes.
And this last few weeks has shooken us to our core. Like, I will say, I've already had the conversation with my son multiple times. If you don't know what the conversation is, I'm not talking about sex. I have had that conversation, but the conversation that most Black moms have to have with their sons as they go from cute, sweet baby boy to young man
Yep.
is about how to come home alive. What are strategies to utilize in order to come back home? Because at the end of the day, that's the goal, is for me to be able to hug, love on, kiss on, or discipline, yell at, scream at, whatever, my son. He should be alive.
And not have to get a phone call.
Yes. And it is the worst. I've been talking with friends about this. To me, I think the greatest tragedy of having to have the talk that I think for me society does not recognize is that it undermines everything that I have done to make his world safe and beautiful. It undermines everything I have done from the time I brought that little chunky chunk home to help him know that he is valued and worthy and he can do anything. I have to be the one before the world does to put that little nugget in the back of their head. All of that is true, but all of that is true, however. And that's just paining me right now.
It's hard. It's really hard because I remember the first time we ever had to have that talk with my son. It was like, in the back of my head, I was thinking, why do I have to have this conversation? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. It should not even have to even happen. I've had that conversation, like you said, multiple times. I know there was an episode on Grey's Anatomy. I'm a big Grey's Anatomy fan.
Right.
And there was an episode where that boy was at his own home trying to get in his house. He had lost his key and he was climbing through the window, and somebody called the police and they shot him because they thought he was trying to burglarize the house.
Right.
After that episode, I cried and I was like, I need to have another conversation. Like, these conversations just keep compiling. My husband has had the conversation with my son about, especially once he started driving, if you get pulled over by the police, this is what you do. And he had told him, and my son, sure enough, got pulled over. And he remembered, all the things he was supposed to do. Put your hands up, on the keep your hands
steering
visible. wheel. Ask if you can reach for even if they tell you to get your license and your registration, ask. Please reach for my license and registration. Be polite. These are conversations that a lot of people don't have to have with their sons.
Right. Even just like having to have the conversation. My son is kind of a little bit of a jokester, and having to have that conversation that you cannot do everything that your friends are doing. Like, he's getting ready to go into high school and having to have those conversations about, like, your friends might think it's funny to TP somebody's house in the middle of the night. Your friends might think it's fun to have a water gun fight in the parking lot, to run around and egg each other, whatever dumb stuff teenage kids do that, is on the line of whether or not it's appropriate or not. But my son cannot do that because it can cost his life.
Right. Exactly.
And that is so painful. I want him to have everything. Listen, girl, I work hard and sacrifice so that little boy can have everything possible that I can provide to him. I go without. But in this area, there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, and the thing that I think I was thinking about the other day is my grandfather was very, very instrumental in the city where I was born when it came to civil rights. And he has passed away quite some time ago. But the thing that I was thinking about the other day is he would be so mortified that we have not come further in all this time. All that he fought for in the civil rights about, you know, equality and everything, that he, even this many years later, we're still having to deal with some of this stuff.
Right. We're still dealing.
We are all human beings. You cut us, we all bleed the same color. We all have the same organs. What is the deal?
Well, I just don't understand. The thing that hurts me so exceptionally is that we as a society have made it okay for the picture of my son to be the picture of fear and boys that look like him. Mm-hmm. And there is this transition where we go from, oh, sweet, cute boy. And I literally saw it happen before my eyes.
It happens right before your eyes.
Right before your eyes. Like he starts to get a little broad and get a little tall. And suddenly the interactions you would have had are like changed so much. I was in Target shopping. And I'm an extrovert. I talk to everybody. So I'm having this conversation with this woman of a different ethnicity. I didn't know her, but whatever. I had my son go get something. You know, normally I have my kids get the list to kind of get through quickly if I go shopping with them, so that they don't have the may I, like get the list, right? So he saw a really cool toy and he grabbed it. It was a Nerf gun or something. I don't know what it was. And he comes barreling toward me and he is saying, Mom, 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 right? But the terror on that woman's face of my son barreling toward her, like horrified me. Like he is 12 at this time, still got cute little chunky cheek face, like all the things. It, to me, looks like a little boy carrying a toy. Fool, like being so excited about this toy, asking me something that I'm gonna say no to, like,
right?
Like, but what I see and what she sees, two completely different things,
right?
You know, I dressed my son, sent him away, and then I had to like have this conversation with this stranger, like, can you help me understand why you were fearful in that moment? Like, he is literally saying, Mom, 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 like. If you were just closing your eyes and listening, you would know that it was a goofy kid.
Well, what was her answer? That's what I'm curious about.
And she was just like, I don't know. And I don't think she was able to get herself to like a self-aware place to say, you know, the truth is I'm afraid of black men. She didn't even
realize what she was doing.
And that right there is the problem, is that we as a society have decided to brush our history with, you know, some rose-colored glasses instead of dealing with those issues. And I know this is different than our normal topics, mamas, but I'm just going to say this. If you are watching or listening, it's because you kind of sort of enjoy our take on motherhood and who we are. I'm just going to take that leap of faith.
Right, exactly.
If you happen not to be an African-American mama or African-American daddy, if you're listening, if you would just do a moment and do some reflection. Like, it's not okay for us to fear one another. And in order for us to deal with those fears, we have to dig in deep to what we heard.
And we have to be honest.
Yeah. Like, don't tell me you don't see my color. You see how cute my earrings are? You compliment on the color of my lipstick. How can you compliment on all that color, but then you don't see the beautiful melanated skin that God gave me, and know that seeing that skin means something to you? Seeing a red lip means something to you. Does it mean it's a power lip color? Does it mean you're a slut? I mean, everybody has a lot of different ideas,
connotations for things.
Right, a bright red lip means. Right? And we'll talk about it. Like, I know that red lipstick is good on you, but it can't be on me. My mom told me red lips are for, you know, harlots and hookers. So I can never put on a red lip. It's just something in my head. We can articulate that about the color of lipstick. Right? We need to begin, please, to articulate that when it comes to skin color, we have to have these hard conversations. We have to, because I cannot live in a world, I cannot live in a world where because you're brown, because you're black, because you're white, because you're all of the peaches and the beiges that God created, it means XYZ.
Right. We're all just humans, to be honest. I mean, I guess I didn't grow up that way. And I always grew up in areas where my parents we lived in areas where we were not the majority. I went to school, a lot of the schools I went to, I was the minority in the school. There weren't very many people that looked like me. So having to deal with that sometimes, and especially some of the people don't understand until you've been treated as different.
Yes.
You don't get it. You don't get it. I can specifically remember a teacher in my freshman year who treated me differently until I told my mother and we confronted it, and then things changed. But it's really rough. It's really hard. And it's like, to me, I think it's all so stupid. And I hate to use that word because I tell my kids, don't say that word, stupid, but it's stupid because quite honestly, we are all humans, period.
Yeah.
In the story. Humans. We all are humans. And why are we picking and choosing
who has value?
Who has value and who doesn't? Yep. Because we're all here because we have value.
Right.
Even that bum on the street has value. He might be annoying. He might be a menace to society, but he is a human being, right? So we don't just go around beating people on the street because they were on the street. I mean, it's just really, it all is crazy. It's sad because that even happens with relationships. And it's so funny because my mother was very open-minded, and her take on it was, you do not choose who you love. Your heart chooses who you love, and love doesn't have a color. That's what she told me. Love does not have a color. And I'll never forget those words. I will never forget those words.
Well, I think we just have work to do. And
still, we have lots of work to do.
Well, and the glimmer of hope that I have, and some of the reasons, mamas, why we decided to have this conversation is women have always been at the forefront of change. Let's just be honest, right? And the connection that a mom has to another mom and understanding her journey can be so powerful. You can see that mom with that 2-year-old having a meltdown, and it viscerally reminds you.
And it's an instant bond.
Yeah, it's instantly, you're like, and everybody else might step over that child and look at you some kind of way. And you as a mom can be like, you know what? I have been there. You're okay. Like, good job, mom. You know what I mean? Like, those connections can be so powerful. I remember some moms supporting me when I was breastfeeding. Like, there's nothing like you are trying to hide yourself and cover up and all the things, like another mom come up to you, say, you are feeding your baby. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You're beautiful. Handle your business. Thank you. There's nothing that makes you feel like I'm not alone. And so what I am hoping and praying is that our mamas that don't have Black sons will join us in understanding our hurt. That I am fearful every time my son is outside of my sight.
That is the hardest thing. Every time my son leaves the house, I don't say what's really on my mind.
Right.
My thing is, be safe, be careful, love you. But in the back of my head, especially this last week, it's been, oh my gosh, I hope he makes it back okay. Oh my gosh, I hope something doesn't happen, or he doesn't do some sort of confrontation. I don't want to think that way. I don't want to be looking at my watch going, I hope he's okay. Like, I hope he comes home. That is something I should not have to think about.
Right. But you do, because of society. And I think the thing that hurts the most is to have sisters in motherhood who will tag, like, share, whatever, my comments about something funny parenting, will, like, share, whatever, something about even my own son's birthday and accomplishment, right? Like, get 100 tags on that. But then when I say, please, moms, like, this is fearful, this is what's going on, crickets. And that's what hurts. And I know
because
that
it's hard. It's a hard one.
It is hard, but and I think we as a society don't tell our sisters who are of another ethnicity what to do. So listen, this is what I'm going to say. I would like, I'm not speaking for all of the Black motherhood, but I'm going to speak from one Black mother. What I would love is at least for you to say something, to say that this is not okay. Looking at my post or someone else's post and putting a, sad emoji, or that's not enough. I need you as a non-African American mama to also say, this is not okay. Because when you say it, there is a different power and a different reach than when I say it. It's very easy for somebody to dismiss. Oh, there they go again. Oh, they're always catastrophizing or, whatever. But I feel like my, Caucasian or Latina or Asian, or Arab friends who are like, this is not okay, guys. It really means something to me. Right. It means a lot.
Because we're unified in that way.
For you to also affirm, yes, that somebody's child should not die at the hands of a police officer or a wayward racist. Like, that is not okay. That we in this country and in this world have a system of justice. And the fact that my baby could be somebody's hashtag, like, kills me to my core. I don't want somebody protesting my child's name. Don't put my baby's name in your mouth. He should be able to have his own legacy, whether it's good or bad. Girl, right now he's making some poor choices and driving me crazy. But he gets to choose.
That on Rona.
Girl, listen. But he gets to choose that. And if he chooses to be a whatever crazy madness he chooses, he gets to choose that. And if he chooses to be on the other side, President of the United States, lawyer, whatever, he gets to choose that. He has an opportunity to make excellent choices. Exactly. Or to make crappy, poor choices. Yes. Those choices should not cost his life because he decided to go hang out late or break curfew or whatever it is.
And just because of the color of his skin.
Right?
It's crazy. Well, as a family yesterday, we actually sat down and watched The Hate U Give. My daughter had seen it and she had been telling us to watch it. And we kept saying we were going to watch it. And then we sat down as a family and watched it yesterday.
Girl.
My heart breaks.
Girl, the book is even better. The book is even, my daughter and I read the book. It is even more like.
Afterwards, you're just kind of like, you almost feel empty. It's like this empty feeling of, goodness gracious. Like, and it's so sad that we hear stories like that almost monthly.
I know. Well, and I think that's the hard thing about the algorithm, right? Like, we as people of color, as mamas of color, are getting those images constantly. I don't know if our sisters of other ethnicities are, and that's why I say, when it does, mamas, pass your screen and you happen to be a sister mother, but not of African-American descent, I need you to post that to your page and say out loud, or just say type loudly, this is not okay. I won't stand for that. I need you to sit your child down and say, hey, we have friends that are beautiful and brown. If for some reason you're in a situation, you are the one that is obligated to speak up, because that baby is fearful for their life. Right? Like, I need you. You're going to say, I feel like every mama listening here is going to say, I want my kids to have friends of all ethnicities, all colors. I don't, the majority of us are not like that overt racism, right? We all have internal bias we have to deal with, for sure. And, we can have a whole long discussion about that. But what I think is probably 95% of moms in the United States say they want their kids to have all kind of friends.
Right.
Teach your child to be a good friend. If you aren't also having a conversation about what it means to be a good friend to your brown and black, friends, then you're not being a good friend. I'm just going to say it. If my kid is in the mall and they get accused of something and your child just walks away, that's not being a good friend. So if I have to have a conversation with my child, if you are truly going to make sure that your child is a good friend, then you need to also have a conversation with your child. Your child also needs to watch these videos and understand this is what can happen. And while we respect the police and interaction with the police officer is not always supportive to your friends. And so you have the opportunity to color that interaction. You have the opportunity to be an advocate. And that's what I'm hoping. Like,
right.
I know normally we're keeping you laughing and having,
but this was
lots
really
of
on our hearts
silliness.
And really on our minds today. And we were struggling to try and figure out what to cover. And I feel like we have a duty to our listeners to be real.
Yeah.
To be authentic and not to just put on a smiley face and make you guys laugh just because we know that's what you guys are used to, because that's not real life. Everybody here has days where it's something that's just, you can't just go through the day being, oh, gee, today's a great day, because something has affected you. And because this affected us and we started talking about it and we really were like, you know what, maybe that's the episode. And maybe we just need to talk about it. And if they listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't. We're going to be honest with you guys.
Yeah.
Because we owe it to you guys and we owe it to ourselves to be authentic and to be real and to be honest.
Well, and this is a huge part of our motherhood.
Absolutely.
And it is a huge part. And as much as I can make sure my kids are educated, make sure they know how to care for themselves, make sure they're articulate, respectful, and polite. As a responsible mother of African-American children, I cannot leave this piece of the education out. I can't.
That's a detrimental piece of the education. If you leave it out, the ramifications can't come back from those.
Are deadly, are quite deadly. So, moms, our discussion is our discussion. I really hope my real hope and prayer, ladies, I've been in prayer about this episode for a while as we've been going back and forth. And my real hope, like at our very first episode, my desire has always been to build a wide tribe of motherhood, mothers that support each other in the celebrations and support each other in our tragedies, support each other in the good, in the bad, in the hard, where we can just really be real. And I guess, Kian, today we're testing that, right? We are testing.
Well, sometimes you have to put your toe in the water.
Right? So we are testing the type of sisterhood we've built. My hope and prayer is that we have built a sisterhood that those of you who rock with us, who are UI mamas, will begin to make a change. This isn't about, there's tons of systemic things we can do, right? There's tons. And, we're not going to get into that. That has a lot to do. But I know one thing that every mama can do is make sure that we support each other. And this mama is something I need support in. I do not have the same reach with the Latino community as my Latino sisters. I do not have the same reach with the Caucasian community as my Caucasian sisters, or my, Persian sisters, or my, Asian sisters. I just don't.
Right.
But I need you right now.
We have to band together in solidarity and really.
That everybody's son should get to come home. Like at the end of the day, that's what I'm asking you. I am asking you to say that it is not okay that my son not come home to me. I can't imagine how you don't jump on board with that.
Right.
At a fundamental mother's right is to have her child come home. I'm not talking about an accident on the side of the road. I'm not talking about, that stuff happens. Life is full of tragedy. This is something we can prevent. I don't want not one more Black son's name as a hashtag. I don't want to protest not one more son not coming home to his mother because of bias, because of racism.
Because he was Black.
Right, because of hate.
Black, jogging while Black, whatever.
Right. Like, that's the thing. My son is getting ready to go to high school. He wants to try out for the football team. So he should be able to jog around the block. Girl, this week it sure enough wasn't happening. Like, which is crazy for me to say, like, no, but you gonna have to do some jumping jacks or burpees or something in the garage, because you're not. It is reasonable for my teenage child to be able to jog in his own neighborhood.
We should not have to live in fear, period, of something like that happening to our children.
Yeah.
Because of the color of their skin. That is the worst fear to have, that your kid may not come home because he is of a certain color. That's crazy. Now, the fears of, oh my gosh, they're out driving and they might get in an accident. That's normal mama stuff.
Right.
Like,
every mom's dealing with that.
Happen. Everybody knows these things happen. But to be in fear because you're worried, like, what if my kid gets pulled over? What if my kid is mistaken for being something, is mistaken for being a criminal or a suspect or something like that. That is the kind of stuff I don't want to wake up and have to think about every day. Like, that is the stuff that pulls at your heartstrings, and you can't even breathe because you are worried when that child walks out the door. Are they coming home tonight?
Right. Moms, this is a heavy episode. I know it is, but you know what? We are human.
Yes.
And this is our human experience being African-American mamas. I hope and pray that for those mamas who are also African-American mamas, particularly those of us mamas of, Black sons and daughters, I am keeping all of us in our prayers. I know we have all had that hard conversation with our kids. I'm so sorry that we had to have that conversation with our kids again. I want you to know that we absolutely are in solidarity with loving you and doing everything we can do to keep our babies safe. And for our moms who are rocking with us who are not of African-American descent, I'm just going to ask you point blank, are you my friend? Do you want to be friendly? Because if you cannot stand up and say my son deserves to come home alive, if you cannot say that, then you got some thinking to do. And the title friend should not be exchanged between us. I'm just going to be point blank honest. I am ride or die for my kids. I am a mama bear. And part of being a mama bear of a Black son is standing strong for him and his right to come home alive.
Exactly.
We love you so very much.
Yes, me and mamas.
We truly want to build a strong foundation of sisterhood. Today, I need my sisters to stand up for me and my son.
We love and for all support you guys, and we appreciate the support that you guys have given us. And we ask for your support right now in this very difficult conversations that we're having to have with our boys.
We love you tons, and we hope you have an absolutely fantastic week.
Bye.